All right, hey everyone, welcome back to the Jazz Piano School podcast, episode number 195. My name is Brendan Lowe. I am creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. Thanks so much for being here. So, two things. We have 5 more episodes till we get to the 200th podcast of Jazz Piano School, and that's amazing. We want to celebrate that, and we want to give something away to you guys that I think is going to be really, really awesome and helpful to you in the learning process of achieving jazz piano freedom, which is what I'm all about, okay? So that's gonna be coming on the 200th podcast, so stay tuned for that. I'm gonna tell you more about that in the upcoming episodes. In this particular episode, I'm gonna be continuing my 3-part Bud Powell Anthropology transcription series, all right? So this is gonna be a transcription of Bud Powell playing over rhythm changes, playing over the tune Anthropology, specifically talking about taking away improv Lego building blocks, which is a bonus course inside of our members area. And I'm telling you about the strategies and methodology that I use to analyze transcriptions and help you guys improve your improvisation, not just by playing long-winded licks or cutting and pasting, you know, how we get to that solo and we're kind of guessing for a while, and then we get to that one spot where like, oh, I got this. And then for the rest of the solo, it's like, I don't really know what to do. I'm trying to help you guys get over that because I was there a lot and I did it a lot myself. It doesn't feel great, you know, because you're just waiting for that one spot in the solo, right? You want to be able to solo over the entire thing and feel confident. So the strategies I'm going to give you regarding improv Lego building blocks are going to help you do that quicker, right, more efficiently, and ultimately help you develop solos in a much better way that you can express yourself, your true colors, and anything that you want to give out to the world. All right, so that's going to be in this. We're going to move on to the second 8 bars of Bud's solo. With that being said, let's dive right into this episode. Here we go.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Jazz Piano School podcast, episode number 195. My name is Brendan Lowe, founder and creator of Jazz Piano School. I'm your host, as always. Thank you so much for being here. So, I'm going to launch right into this. I don't want to waste any time. I want to get right into the learning today, actually, because I got a lot to do, and I think it's a good thing sometimes instead of hearing me blab all the time. But we're going to be doing the second part. I'm going to be continuing the second part of the Bud Powell transcription. And so this is going to be the second A of rhythm changes. And one quick note is that in the future, we're going to be releasing a rhythm changes specialty course, which I think is going to be really cool, and we've had a lot of requests for that. So this can kind of be like a preview, not preview, but a precursor into that. And rhythm changes is a really fun thing to work on just because you play it all the time. People request it all the time. There's so many tunes over rhythm changes, so it's a really good learning tool. So again, this is going to be the second A of the Bud Powell transcription, and I'm going to be talking about improv Lego blocks again and taking these little bite-sized pieces of his improvisation solo and using them on your own to create your own improv solos, right? We're trying to stay away from the long-winded licks, the long-winded phrases that you're trying to cut and paste and put into your solos because that really doesn't do much for you in the long run. The reason for that being is that it's simply regurgitating a sentence, right? And what I want to be able to allow you to do and teach you is that by utilizing these small improv Lego blocks, you can build your own solo and essentially achieve jazz piano freedom in your solos to create whatever you want, right? Instead of simply kind of cutting and pasting and then not really knowing what to do on other parts of the solo. Then you get to that one point, boom, you got that killer lick. And then for the rest of the solo, it's kind of, you're wandering, you're lost, you're guessing, right? That's not really what we want to accomplish in jazz. So with that being said, let's dive right into the analysis. Here we go. All right, so in the first part, I love how Bud, he starts off with the rest. He starts off with a 2-beat rest. And it's a really cool thing because he starts on a triplet. And so you have 1, 2, triplet, and then an anticipation for and, which is a really, really cool rhythm. So check this out. 1, 2, triplet, 4, and. This rhythm alone is an improv Lego building block, and you should totally use this, like this particular rhythm and phrase starting on beat 3 going to 4 and with a tie, right? Because it's just such a cool rhythm. And then he continues his line. All right, so that rhythm in itself should be used in your solos. Like, practice that. Take it, use it, okay? Let's talk about the notes for a second. Again, Bud's just playing over a simple 1-6-2-5 in rhythm changes. So more or less B flat 6, going to G7, going to C minor, going to F7. Okay, that's all that's happening here. So the first two beats of the B flat, he's not even playing over. Okay, he's with the triplet, essentially he's approaching this 5, just chromatically, right? He just has a chromatic approach with the triplet, and he's going 5-1, okay, which happens to tie over, right? So 1, and so, whoops, sorry, 1, 2, 3, there we go. I think that was the same thing. But anyway, so that ties over, right? And then essentially he starts his next line. Now, as opposed to the first part that I did before, Bud is playing more eighth notes with less space now. So here, essentially essentially after he holds this note, he's just coming down 9, 7, 5 of the C minor 7. And essentially, he's really just thinking about kind of this extension here and then a C minor chord. This can all be outlined or arpeggiated whenever you want. Right? All this stuff on any minor chord is a really good, it fills a lot of content in improv over minor 7 chords, right? So 9, 7, 5. He could have kept going, but he doesn't, right? Because it changes to the F7, and he actually, instead of going to this E flat, he jumps back up. So he goes, right? So here, so 1 and 2 and 3. He lands on 3 on the 7. Now from here, over this F7 chord, check out what he does. This is really cool. He has essentially, you can look at this in two ways. This is an F sharp minor 6 chord, but over the F7 chord, this is going to be the 7, sharp 5 or flat 13, 3, flat 9, and then it resolves to the 3. He jumps back up to the 3 of the B flat chord, which comes next. Right? So from the beginning, it sounds like this. That's such a cool sound. I rarely ever play this type of sound. And again, to achieve that, you can think about a half step up from the F7. That would be an F sharp minor 6 chord, right? Or you can think what you should actually think going forward in the future. I always strongly encourage, is to think to the chord, right? So how the notes specifically relate to the chord. 7, flat 13, 3, flat 9, 1. Well, he doesn't go there, he goes to 3, right? So from here on the measure 3, or excuse me, 11, I should say, he has another tie. So that's another improv Lego building block. So I would say up to this point, we have this, right? So this is a building block. We have this. That's a building block over the any minor chord, 9, 7, right? And this is just a G minor triad. You can think about this as a 5 minor triad, right? So in the key of C minor, here's a 5, you build a minor triad. Then we have our F sharp minor 6 chord over top of our F7 chord, right? So you can think about that as a half step up, or you can think 7, flat 13, 3, flat 9. All right, so those are we essentially have 4 or 5 Lego building blocks within this 2-measure phrase that you should take, implement, practice, and integrate into your solos and work with, right? Spend time with each of those to work with. Don't just play the transcriptions as is, really dig into them. Build a relationship with each piece of these building blocks, and then you start to put them together in different ways that you're creating, okay? So, going to measure 3. This is a really cool line. So he has this, another tie, right? I love that. I mean, this is already 3, 5, 6. And again, in rhythm changes, you can think about this going to the 1, or you can just think about this as in terms of B flat 6, which he was probably doing. He's just thinking B flat 6 here. So he's going 3, 5, 6. Now he has an approach to the C minor 7, which he lands on the 7 of. There's another Lego building block. Right? So he's approaching that 7 of the C minor 7. Now check out what he does over the C minor 7. He just outlines the C minor 7. This is exactly what I was talking about before. So another Lego building block. Just outline. Just go down the chords. So just straight down. You can go straight down the chords. You know, that's all you need to do. It doesn't need to be complex, right? Now over the F7, he chooses to add extensions again to kind of spice things up. So he has sharp 9, flat 9, 1, 3, 7, into the 3 of B flat. That's a Lego building block right there. You should take this particular line, play with that, and develop a relationship with this. Right? So sharp 9, flat 9, 1, 7, 3. So this is a resolution into any one chord. So over any dominant chord, you can use this Lego building block to resolve to one chords. So you're going to start on the sharp 9 and then resolve into the 3 of the one chord. Doesn't matter what key you're in, right? Challenge yourself to do it in all keys, right? So maybe E flat 7, right? Going into A flat major, right? Sharp 9, flat 9, 1, 7, 3. Right? And you'd play that and learn that Lego building block. So that way you can use that in multiple situations instead of just learning this full 4-bar phrase that Bud's playing a lick and kind of putting that into rhythm changes. You now have more multiple ways and options to create your improv solo without just kind of inserting this lick. Do you see that? You see the possibilities there? I want you to understand the freedom and the difference between your learning style and your learning approach when learning transcriptions and starting to analyze them, okay? So here we go. So let's look at that 2-bar phrase again. Right, really cool line there. A lot of Lego building blocks, okay? So from the beginning, we have this. Now, Bud keeps going here. That's a really gorgeous line. It's such a jazz bebop line. So 3, 2, 1. Now he has a passing tone to the 7. So anytime you have this progression, 1 going to 1 dominant or 1 dominant over 3. So those are both the same thing, guys. So if you have 1 chord, and then this 1 chord, this 1/6 chord goes to a 1 dominant chord, right? So I have B flat 6 here, and then B flat dominant. See how I'm changing one note, 6 to 7? You see that? Anytime you have that, you want to outline that change. And this is a very important concept over everything. This is a nugget, guys, within the podcast here. So anytime you have a slight change that doesn't really change much, you want to really emphasize that change. So what Bud's doing here is he's taking the B flat 6 chord and he's hitting that 7. That's the only note that changes in the chord, and he's emphasizing it so you can hear the harmonic change. It's brilliant. That's what you guys want to do. It's like when you have a 4 major 7, like let's say we're in the key of C, going to 4 minor major, only one note is changing. So in your solo, don't play other notes around that. I mean, you can, but it sounds really beautiful to emphasize that change. Right? When you emphasize the harmonies that are moving in the composition, your solo is going to sound that much better and connected into the harmony. All right, here we go. Okay, so that is a Lego building block. I love how he jumps back up to essentially this 6, 3, 1. Sorry. So this just in itself is great. And essentially, here's the progression: 1 dominant over 3, and then you can have 4 dominant or 4/6 usually, and then diminish. And then 1 over 5 really, or just 1 in general, okay? So this particular line right here is just essentially resolving to the E flat. Right? 6, 3, 1. So, and then a slight delayed resolution to the 1 of the E flat. So we have this. Really cool. He leaves one little rest, which is great. That's a Lego building block right there. Right? So you can use this as the pickup. He has this E flat as the pickup, right? So he has and 3 and 4 and 1. So this whole line is leading up to the D. Right? So 6, 1, 9, or 2, chromatic into the 3. Usually a lot of people play this, right? But Bud does this. Both are great. That's a Lego right there, okay? From here, that's a great little Lego building block there too. That's fantastic. So, right, 3, 1, 6, 5. Has a slight delayed resolution, right? 7, or a half step below. Chord scale above to the 1. Right, so let's look at this slowly again. So that whole approach is just into the 7. That's the purpose of this line. 3, 9, or 2. Just walking down the scale, the B flat scale. Now he has a bebop passing tone. You should learn your dominant bebop lines because this is where that comes from. Passing tone into the 7. Just a little approach into the E flat. Great. So fantastic, right? So a little faster. Right? So awesome, okay? So from the beginning, all right, I'll just play it by itself. So 1, 2. Really, real cool line. And again, I'm encouraging you don't practice this whole line. This is what I'd recommend, and this is what I'd suggest to make more progress, faster, and more efficient. That will help you in the long run. You don't need to practice full transcriptions. Now, ultimately, in the end, yes, I do recommend it. You should learn full language so that it flows together. But what you really want to do is spend time with these individual pieces first. Really develop a relationship with them so that you can see the coding, you can see the building blocks in the solo, and you can see how they're working together. That way you have an understanding, your hands have an understanding, your muscles have an understanding of how these individual bite-sized Lego building blocks, these improv Lego building blocks are working together, right? Because otherwise you just see one huge overwhelming transcription and all you're doing is playing transcriptions, but you don't understand, you're not taking away from it, right? So this is why it's really important to spend time with exactly the process that I'm doing, plus practice, of each improv Lego building block, okay? Again, so here it is, 1, 2. Beautiful. Again, now obviously you want to get to that point where you can play the whole thing. That's fantastic. But again, I wouldn't say that's your goal at first for the solos in any sort of transcriptions you learn. Take your time with each individual measure, break it down, and start to implement those little improv Lego building blocks into certain chords, certain keys, so you develop a relationship with them. And I promise, I guarantee it, your improvisation, your solos will get so much better, so much more quickly than they have been in the past when you're just playing full lines, full licks, and full transcriptions. All right? I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll see you in the next part 3.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Again, part 3 is going to be coming out next week, and I'm going to be going forward into Bud's solo on Anthropology. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, definitely go ahead and do so below because we release a new podcast episode like the one you just saw every single Wednesday and a new lick of the week every single Monday. And also don't forget to go to jazzpianoschool.com and check out all of our free education that's on there, our podcast, our blog, our lick of the week, our transcriptions. It's absolutely incredible. And again, please be sure to sign up for our mailing list because we're going to be opening enrollment to Jazz Piano School coming up very, very soon with a lot of amazing features, new upgrades, and bonuses. And we only open about twice a year, so this is a really, really big deal. We throw a huge party and it's really awesome, okay? If you have any questions, please let us know at any time. I hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, happy practicing.